Last time we talked about the importance of the Steam Deck and how it pounced on the mistakes made by PlayStation when they made the Vita. In this episode of Impossible Mission, we are following that up. Hello, I'm Rob.
And I'm Prob.
And Impossible Mission to you all. Oh, that's a good intro. I'm sticking with that.
Is that how we're doing it from now on? Impossible Mission to you all.
Yes, it's marketable. Anyhow,
that's our standard greeting when we greet each other. Impossible mission to you, sir.
Yes. Last time we talked about, as I said, the Steam Deck. It's kind of a big deal because PlayStation dropped the ball with the handheld market, and the Steam Deck can do this thing which I don't think anybody else can. It's normalizing handheld gaming because PC handheld gaming is kind of the white elephant is the saying?
The white elephant, the white rhino, whatever you want to call it.
It's the mystical thing, the unachievable thing, because, it's hardwired, isn't it? PC gaming. It's on a desk, it's on a laptop, there's no other. Steam Deck changed that entirely, and it's providing a third option, but apparently there's more to that. I don't know, because I am a tech dunce, so I think Rob is not the tech dunce. So he'll be taking me, the tech dunce, for all of this. I introduced that neatly, smoothly. You could bank your house on that one.
Okay, basically what Rob is trying to tell you is that for today's episode, I am the wizard and he is Dorothy. And it's time for Rob to follow the technological yellow brick road. What I will say, just to get this out of the way, and we're not going to go into a lot of the technical detail about the Steam Deck. There are plenty of videos about that out there on the internet, some really good ones as well. We're going to be looking at this from a more objective viewpoint, and also from the perspective that Valve are very clearly knowing what they're doing. This is all quite deliberate on Valve's part, and they've effectively declared war on everyone.
Well, you assume they have.
And this is what I'm here to try and prove, right? So first up is the price. So you've got three price bands for the Steam Deck. You've got $399 for the base model, 64 gig version, which is about $50 more than...
Just on that, you can't upgrade you can't upgrade the space, can you? So
on the 64 gig version, no. On the others, yes. 529 and the 649 version, the 256 gig version and the 512 gig version, you should be able to upgrade the space on those, but not on the base model. Now, here's the thing, and I didn't think about this until I was speaking to a friend of mine who, I used to work in marketing and advertising back in the 90s, and a friend of mine still works in that industry, and something he said resonated with me. He said, people never remember the highest number, they always remember the lowest number. I thought, hang on.
Well, that's the psychological pricing, isn't it? So they say under £100 when it's $99.99. It's those little bits like that which are really sneaky in the marketing.
Exactly.
world.
So what people are focused on is the lowest price model of the Steam Deck, the base model, which most people who want the Steam Deck didn't go for. If you look at the pre-order numbers, it was something like 2/3 of them went for the highest specification model.
Which is what, about 700 quid?
About 700 quid, which puts it right in that price bracket for things like the Aya Neo and the One X Player and the other handheld PCs that are already out there. But everyone's so focused on the Switch, and Valve played a really, really good move here. I mean, this is a pure marketing move. 3 price bands, a mid-range band, just to kind of offset things so people don't realise that Valve is clearly aiming at those two markets, the handheld PC market and at the Switch. Right? Yeah. So there's that. Then there's the name, the Steam Deck. Now, Valve chose a specific day, and I reckon they already knew what was going to happen on that day, right? There is a company that is very big with video game streamers, with Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers, Elgato, right?
Yes.
And Elgato, on the same day, literally a few hours after Valve announced the Steam Deck, announced their new Stream Deck. Now, that to me, okay, initially I thought coincidence, but the more I thought about it, I thought, no, that's actually a deliberate action on Valve's part. They'd chosen the name Steam Deck over something else, because, I mean, if you look at their initial foray into the console market, the Steam Machine, right? That's what it was called, the Steam Machine.
Yeah, and this is... Elgato have done Stream Decks before. This is not their
Yeah.
first one. They have like many things
Exactly.
in their line which is targeted towards people who stream on Twitch and what have you, and YouTube and what have you.
Exactly, and it's literally one letter difference. But here's the thing, Valve, if they were sticking to their guns, if they were sticking with the whole Steam thing, Valve, Steam, Steam, Valve, that sort of thing, they would have gone with a name like Steam Engine, which also would have been, it would have been a nice little pun, but it also would have been a nice little kind of nod to the old handheld console from the 90s, the PC Engine.
Yeah, engine has a different connotations as a word in sort of gaming circles now.
But the thing is,
you think Unreal, you think Unity.
Yeah, but the thing is, there was already a PC Engine handheld console.
Oh, no, it's just things evolve and terms change.
Things evolve, but the thing is, you can always bring things back. I'm just saying that if you called it the Steam Engine, people would have looked at it and gone, actually, that's a good name.
Makes me think of an old train, honestly, but,
But the thing is, people like old trains.
No.
people like steam trains. All right, no. I like steam trains. Moving on from that, because those are the two things that kind of make me think a lot of what Valve has done was deliberate, but it's not the only thing, right? Because Valve have had a serious limitation on the Steam library, and one of the things that Valve realized when they came up with the Steam machine and their own operating system was that their entire business model is dependent on Microsoft.
Well, no, I mean, their marketplace has become a lot more crowded as sort of a platform to buy games from. Once upon a time, they were the monopoly. There was absolutely no question of that. GOG, or Good Old Games, were kind of secondary. They weren't really competition. But now there's the Epic Games Store, which is eating into their market share.
Yeah, there's those. But Steam, as a service, the entire business model of Steam is dependent on Microsoft. I mean, absolutely dependent. See, this is the thing. Whenever you install a Steam game, it always installs the latest version of DirectX or whatever version of DirectX you need. Now, DirectX is a thing that Microsoft came up with in 1996. And this is where I'm going to get a little bit technical, but not too much, right? One PC can have a certain set of parts, another PC can have a different set of parts, yeah? Sure. So it can have a different graphics card, different power supply, different motherboard, that sort of thing. DirectX is basically what Microsoft came up with to kind of add a degree of uniformity, so all of these parts can talk to each other. So any program that you use on one computer you can use on another computer with completely different parts.
Yeah,
that's what DirectX basically is. And Steam, every Steam game relies on DirectX. Right now, you can play Steam games on Macs, but Apple had to develop a thing called Rosetta for use with Macs, so you could play Steam games on Macs. Right, and this is where a lot of the problems that Valve have with Steam as a service are. They've wanted to have their own system, which is why they tried the Steam machine in the first place. That was their first salvo. That was their first foray into making their own system, their own unique system for themselves. And then you've got the Steam Deck, which is their second attempt, their second bite at the cherry. But I think they've cracked it with this one because...
Maybe.
Well, it's a Linux-based system like it was before.
But let's not count chickens before they've hatched, or eggs before they've hatched.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we're counting chickens before they've hatched. Not a problem. I will go with you on that.
Because the problem here is people can get a little bit pie in the sky thinking, but, you got to keep grounded, you got to keep realistic, because gaming industry, very fickle mistress. Yeah,
but here's the thing. Microsoft are pushing Game Pass and their own Windows Store in a big way, especially on Windows 11, right?
Yeah, it's part of Steam thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know Steam you can use Steam on Windows 11, but it becomes a secondary thing. And it's still dependent on Microsoft. It's still dependent on the goodwill of Microsoft and on the contracts that they've got with Microsoft. Now, Microsoft are big enough to walk away from those.
One of the biggest companies on the planet. One of the few $1 trillion companies, yeah.
Exactly. They're big enough to walk away from that. And then what have Valve got? They're basically left pissing in the wind.
Yeah, I guess. So
Valve,
But they could always talk to Apple, I guess.
Apple's new processor, right? It basically makes that layer that they created to help you play DirectX and x86 and x64 games on Macs. That becomes redundant with their new M1 processor, and they haven't announced any replacement for Rosetta yet. So
redundant for now.
For now,
again,
yeah. But again, it's a threat to Valve's profit margin. It's a threat to Valve as a company. Yeah. And this is where I'm coming from. These are direct threats to Valve as a company, And so Valve have had to pull out all the stops with the Steam Deck to try and find a solution to all of these problems. And I reckon they believe the Steam Deck is their shot at resolving a lot of their issues. Not all of them, but a lot of them. The motive behind the Steam Deck.
Okay.
Because that's the thing. Valve have wanted to become independent from Microsoft. In fact, they don't want to be beholden to Microsoft anymore.
Are you reading into this, or have they gone on record and said this?
They haven't gone on record and said this, but this is the thing. When you look at what has been said and what they've done and what the market situation is, then some things become obvious.
Okay.
So yeah,
we've laid the deck there. Got the market, the motive, the market situation, the technology, things are evolving, Windows 11, Microsoft getting cocky with Game Pass, all of this.
Yeah.
How would we get from all of that to that really risky gambit that you opened this episode with, the war word?
Right. The war word...
Let's say the war word, the declaring war on everybody.
It has to do with PCs, specifically PCs, and even more specifically, gaming PCs and gaming laptops, right?
Yes.
Now, all PCs that don't use Linux or aren't Apple PCs, all of them run on Windows, don't they?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so they're all beholden to Microsoft. They're all subject to Microsoft's will, effectively. Now, here's the thing. We've just gone through a global pandemic. And during that time...
Still in.
Yeah, well, we're still in. We're in the latter stages of it. During that time, we've had a global semiconductor shortage. We've had chip shortages galore. We've had crypto miners and scalpers buying up all of the graphics processors, and the GPUs. So the price of those has become exorbitant. And people are still gaming on aging hardware. And one of the things that I noticed in the comments from the previous video was that several people seem to agree that they were using an older system and they were looking forward to the Steam Deck because it allowed them to play modern games on a system that didn't cost them an arm and a leg.
Yeah, because for a run-of-the-mill gaming laptop, we're talking 700. For a good one, we're talking 1,200. And it's largely the same for the desktops, but the upper end goes much, 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 much higher.
Exactly.
In thousands and thousands of pounds. I mean, just the components, the graphics cards alone can cost you more than the consoles. So that's a marketplace which I'm going to say that this, and it's probably going to annoy PC gamers, but I don't think the component market for PC is particularly healthy, given how much the price for one item is. And PC is made of many, many items.
It's not. And the thing is, that is one of the market areas that I think Valve is trying to take the lead in, is where gaming PCs are concerned. Because the Steam Deck, you can connect it to a dock and you can connect it to a monitor. So it effectively becomes a kind of quasi-desktop PC.
Well, you can do that with like, smartphones, can't you? You can run Android as an operating system on PC sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is more powerful than your smartphone.
Yeah. It's just increasing the common. The technology has evolved very quickly, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. And the Steam Deck is effectively a quasi-desktop PC, but it is much more portable than a laptop, right? Eminently more portable than a laptop, isn't it?
Yes and no.
Now,
it's more portable, but it's the technology of having it as a desktop, a portable desktop, effectively, is dependent on having a good enough monitor wherever you go, and that's
which you can buy. No, you can buy those. You can buy portable monitors now.
Portable monitors. Okay. Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, you can buy portable monitors. You can basically it's just a single screen, and you just basically slot it into a standing dock, which you can basically fit in your bag. You can have everything.
Surprised. They've got that Kickstarter for Microsoft Series S to have like a little flip top monitor to make that completely portable. So I shouldn't be surprised when you say that.
Exactly. You can get portable monitors now, and I wouldn't put it beyond the bounds of possibility that if you have a tablet, of some sort, an Android tablet of some sort, maybe Valve will come up with a system where you can use that as a monitor. Don't know.
I mean, you got laptops which are effectively tablets with little keyboards, like those flipping screen versions of laptops.
Exactly. And so what you have is this marketplace which effectively has been, it's become kind of static with your tablets and your laptops and your desktops and things like that. And then Steam Deck comes in from left field and says, I can do what you do, and I can do what you do, and I can do what you do, but I'm in this form factor.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. But also, I think there's a hidden wrinkle in what you're saying. Yeah. I also think there's a status in buying expensive things for a certain quarter of PC gamers, and I don't think that status, that elitism, I'll say, is going to be removed by the Steam Deck. I honestly think it's going to create a fracture in the industry with the elitists, the PC master race, and those people will be looked down on by those up. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that comes to what I was about to bring up next. It's the open platform, right?
Yeah.
The open platform is, again, a purposeful move on Valve's part. Now, Valve have said that they want to establish this new market area, this new market share, right? And establish what's effectively a new device, a new type of device, a new device paradigm, let's say. Yeah?
Yeah.
And what they've done, well, by making it an open platform, now we've commented on the open platform before, but the open platform actually caters to the PC enthusiasts that you've just mentioned, right?
Yeah, I mean, the open platform's a bit more diverse than that as well, because it's open. You can have SKUs of this, which aren't as, you can have Razer, I don't know.
Corsair, Razer, whoever you want.
But the point is, that's just in the gaming sphere. I think the really interesting prospect of this is if there's versions of this put out there for different trades, essentially. Say you're a video editor. There's a video editor company which puts one out. Say you're, I don't know, a vlogger. There's a vlogger SKU. Yeah. It can be differentiated and market shared up hugely. Because portability, accessibility, moving your device around. If we've learned anything from technology developments in the past 20 years, portability is king.
Yeah.
So I don't think you position this as declaring more on everybody from a gaming perspective.
Yeah.
It's bigger than that if it goes well. And there's no telling that it is going to do that yet.
Well, pre-order numbers suggest it will go well.
Healthy.
Pre-order numbers.
Healthy and well are two. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The thing about the enthusiasts is, yes, they will want their high-end PC parts and everything like that. We already know that. But that's where the mid-level of this comes in and the low level of the Steam Deck comes in. Because eventually it will balance out. Because right now you've got this kind of, this imbalance where a lot of the enthusiasts have jumped on this, wanting the highest level one, which kind of proves what you were saying. They want the highest level Steam Deck. They want the best spec for it, yeah? But that will eventually balance out as more people look at the Steam Deck as a potential, as an option for gaming, right? And for other things as well.
Well, yeah,
so the mid-level and the low-level ones will start selling more and more devices.
The critical mass moment for this, honestly, is when it's sold on Amazon.
Yeah.
That, right, the doors will be blown off this concept.
Yeah.
The second that happens.
Now here's where we kind of loop back to what I was saying at the beginning, that Valve no longer want to be beholden to Microsoft.
But let's question that a second. Valve aren't a proven hardware company.
They're not, which is, again, why it's an open platform. Because Valve can let other people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Valve can let other people make mistakes, more established companies make mistakes, and learn from them.
They can also make the mistakes themselves, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have a history of making mistakes as a company.
Yeah, and the Steam Machine didn't really sell. It didn't really do anything, did it? But the open platform is an interesting thing, see. The Steam Deck is designed to run on Valve's new Steam OS, yeah?
Yeah.
And Valve have developed this thing where, the Linux system, right, is an interesting system because you can get emulators for almost anything, for almost any platform on the Linux system, right? Yes. I'm not going to go into detail about what they are, just suffice to know that you can. One of the things that Valve developed to allow Steam games to be played on this Unix-based system that they've developed, the new Steam OS, is this thing called Proton, right? Again, not going to go into technical details. You can look it up yourself. Google it. It's all there. But the thing about the Steam OS, the Steam operating system, is that with this Steam Deck being an open platform, it strikes me as exactly the same kind of thing that happened with Microsoft right in the early days of the desktop PC, when Microsoft was the operating system for desktop PCs, and you had different parts for desktop PCs. You know, for like the entirety of the 90s, you get different parts for different desktop PCs, but they all ran Windows.
Yeah.
Now, you imagine that scenario. You've got different companies doing different versions of the Steam Deck, but they're all the Steam Deck, and they all run Steam operating system. Valve are going to make money hand over fist from the licensing of the operating system, because no one else is going to be able to make an operating system that runs on that allows you to play all your Steam library. That, I think, is what proves the fact that they have their own operating system now and their own platform for that operating system. That, I think, is what proves they don't want to be beholden to Microsoft anymore.
Okay, so we've established all of these things, loads of ideas, thrown everything around, tech marketing, who is going to be put out of shape by this, Microsoft, Apple, yada, 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 yada. Lots of things.
Yeah.
Interesting device, which presents a paradigm shift. So let's put a bow on this.
It's set the cat amongst the pigeons, definitely.
Oh, yeah. If it's marketed correctly. Beyond the limits of Steam.
Yeah. I would say so far, Valve have played a blinder in terms of marketing.
Yeah. But it's a long game.
It's a long game. So speaking from experience, thus far, Valve have not put a foot wrong, and everybody else is playing catch up.
It's how you market this to people who aren't Steam users.
Exactly.
That is the string, the whatever that will break this camel's back or make this camel into a majestic desert beast that conquers all in front of it.
You're really pushing this metaphor.
Yes. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an incredibly interesting device which presents an incredibly interesting proposition for the future of games. And as we've said before, we collectively don't think that the next generation of consoles, of gaming devices, is going to be a box under the TV. I think this is the first step towards a move away from that and taking a element of influence from the Japanese way, which they don't really have a box under the TV anymore, as proven by the fact that Nintendo Switch has taken up 99% of the market there, basically. And how the Steam Deck will play into that market share will also be another interesting side conversation of this whole thing. But I think that's literally all we can really say about this without badgering this point. And
it's entirely possible, based on what you just said, for Sony and Microsoft and even Nintendo to look at the technology of the Steam Deck, since it is an open platform, and develop their own things based on that.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah, I can see Microsoft doing that. We'll see, though. We'll see. And yeah, I think that's all we have time for, because if we talk about this anymore, it's just going to get too granular and too fine on the details. So, what do you think of the Steam Deck? Do you think it presents a possible paradigm shift in the way games and the devices that they are delivered through? A comment below either would like to talk about this, because it's a very, very interesting topic, as evidenced by the fact that we've made 2 videos back to back about this.
Yeah.
So, if you like what we do, if you like the cut of our jib, that's a figure of speech, please do comment below, like, subscribe, and keep up to date with that notification bell. If you like us even more than that, check out our Patreon. Some of the Patreons are on screen now, and get on board with some exclusive content. But until the next episode of Impossible Mission, where we'll finally be getting to talk about 2022 and how that's all shaken out, for better and worse, this has been Impossible Mission.
Bye!